Jacob in New Jersey, they, them, is a theist who wants to tell us why atheists should be pro-life. So, Jacob, welcome. You're on the Sunday Show with Jimmy and Matt.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Go ahead, lay it on us.
So do you agree it's moral to kill one person to save 1,000 people?
Sorry, what was that?
Do you agree it's moral to kill one person to save 1,000 people?
No, not necessarily. It might be. It depends on the situation.
Just a normal hostage situation.
It depends on the situation. There's no, the normal, the standard hostage situation. Oh, well,
Forgive
in
me
that
for
case,
not immediately rushing to the standard hostage situation.
Jacob, there's no way that this trolley problem is the justification for being pro-life as an atheist.
Yeah. By the way, pro-life has nothing to do with the morality. So stop making moral arguments. Pro-life and pro-choice are about the legality. And so if you think that we should be legally opposed to abortion, make the case for that.
Life is valuable, right?
No, not inherently. Boy, you really thought that you were going to call in with some slang terms and just like go to church later and be like, so then I said, life is valuable. Would you kill one person to save 1,000?
I would agree in the sense that I find my life valuable.
Yeah, my life is different, but that's what I said. Life has value that is given to it. Life is also a term that is bacterial life valuable? Do we value life by itself as a word means so much? So Jacob, give it another go, your best shot, and please refrain from using cliches. If you're going to do a wildly long pause, we'll move on.
Sorry. Wouldn't it be better to save one person even if it causes mild inconvenience?
Huh.
Probably.
Yes, it might be better to save one person if it causes mild inconvenience. You do realize, though, that that the person who's pregnant doesn't just risk mild inconvenience, but their body is permanently altered by carrying a child to term, and that they risk death and other things. And at the end of the day, they are still sovereign, autonomous entities who get to decide whether or not somebody else gets to use their body without their consent.
You've also now used the term person, meaning you have granted personhood to something that hasn't achieved personhood, if this is an abortion metaphor. But again, if you avoided the cliches and the metaphors, we might be able to get somewhere.
Do you have like an argument? Or a fetus is not a person, not legally, not morally, nothing. An embryo, a fetus, those are not persons. They don't have personhood. They don't have a phone number. They don't have a social security number. They're not allowed to drive. They're not persons. But even if they were, Jacob, do you think one person has the right to use somebody else's body without their consent?
If it will save someone's life.
Wow. So you're okay with me using your body without your consent if it saves a life?
What do you mean? It is the body.
Do I get to put you in a bed and filter my blood through your blood?
Yeah.
Okay. If you're not going to grant that right to another person, why do you grant special rights to a fetus?
Well, I mean, the mother brought that life into this world, you know?
The life hasn't been brought into the world and the mother didn't do it. We're talking about a person who's pregnant.
With the baby.
With a fetus, yes, but even if the fetus was a person, you just acknowledged that that person doesn't have the right to use somebody else's body without their consent. And so if the pregnant person doesn't consent, then you have no right to force them to remain pregnant, correct?
Um, I can.
Jacob, if you had a son and your son needed a kidney transplant, could he force you? Should you be forced to give it against your consent? Not would you decide to give your son a kidney transplant, but could he force you to give you a kidney, to take your kidney?
No.
Right. Should that be the law? Should your son, who you brought into the world, be allowed to legally force you to give you his kidney? For
No.
you to give him your kidney?
Should he be able to legally force you to risk your kidney?
Maybe.
Maybe. You think your son should be legally allowed to force you to put your kidney at risk for him. Okay. Do I have that right to force you to put your kidney at risk?
No.
But your son does. Why does your son get special rights that I don't?
Because we will be related. We'll be family.
That's not okay. Do you understand what rights are?
Yes.
I doubt it.
I bet you don't, because why would your son have a right that I don't have a right?
Well, life is valuable, right? So
Answer the
if we can
question,
agree on that-
Jacob. Answer the question.
I didn't, whether or not life is valuable is completely irrelevant. Answer my question.
I think that everybody has a right to live.
Everybody? What's
Are
an
you going
everybody?
to answer my question, or are
No,
you just
that's-
going to
yeah.
keep spewing crap where you haven't even thought about this and don't have any understanding?
Just more
Answer my
cliches.
question, because you're the one who said you understood rights. Why, for example, in the United States of America, should your son have a right that I don't have?
Because he will be related to me. Nothing.
So you don't know
Jacob,
what a right is.
I'm trying very hard here. Rights are granted by a government. A government does not care who is related to whom. The right that you have is never contingent on who you're related to. Nobody should have special rights because of who they're related to.
But a parent is responsible for a child, right?
A parent is responsible for a child provided they maintain that relationship. If you bring a child into the world and do not give up your parental rights, then you have some responsibilities as the caretaker of that child. But that does not give the child the right to use your body or put your body at risk.
Yeah,
You're talking about
You have
what
a responsibility
responsibility.
for that child. You
No,
have
you're talking,
responsibility.
no, sir. You're talking about what responsibility a parent has to a child. That doesn't give the child special rights to that parent's body.
the responsibility a parent has to their child, even legally, is not granted by giving birth. You get first priority. However, the state can take away your responsibility to the child, and you can give away your responsibility to the child. So the fact that you gave birth, while often resulting that, is not actually the determining factor on whether or not somebody is responsible for a child.
But before all that, the mother is responsible for the child.
What are you talking about before
We
all
don't
of that?
have a child. We have an embryo. We're talking about abortion. You can't abort a child that has been born. You can only abort an embryo or a fetus.
Where do
the
you draw the line
person,
between those two?
whether or not it's inside and using someone else's body is where we draw the line.
Yeah, the violation of human autonomy.
So what's the automatic difference between a fetus right before it's born and a baby right after it's born?
See, this is literally the thing I addressed at the beginning, where you scapegoat this concept of a short-term or of a late-term abortion as though that is what anybody is talking about. Late-term abortions, where they actually end the life of the child, is virtually exclusively done because the child was going to suffer and die, as in the example I gave at the beginning of the show, drowning on its own blood for being born without kidneys. So you're trying to say, what's the difference between the day before is if the day before the mother decides to, they don't want to be pregnant anymore, they deliver the baby. If the day after she decides she doesn't want to be pregnant anymore, they still deliver the baby. So the difference in the days is the difference, and that's it. Jacob, how old are you?
I'm 18.
These are just such, and that's not surprising. It sounds like I don't understand what you've been exposed to that you have such a basic level. I'm confused that you're a non-binary person who doesn't apparently put any effort into social issues. One would have thought they would have crossed over. I guess I'll just be confused about that. I don't understand how you have so ignored so much about this issue that your argument would be, what's the difference than the day before? When we're talking about, we can talk about the different phases of pregnancy and how that would impact a person's decision, because it does. And your concept of, well, it's alive, therefore, is meaningless because individual sperm and individual eggs are alive. Zygotes are alive. And none of these things have anything resembling any sort of neural capacity, any type of brain activity, anything that you would grant any type of personhood. They are no more significantly human in having human experience and human awareness than a glob of mold on the wall. In fact, the mold on the wall may have a more significant experience. So I don't know why you would call into a debate show. I'm wondering if the reason you're pausing so much is that this is a prank call and you're pausing to hold in laughs or giggles as you waste time, because seriously, you need to spend time not with Matt and I, but with Google, because you can't get the most fundamentally basic things correct. So I will tell you how to tell if you're ready. If you can debate my side. What'd you say?
What'd you say, Jacob?
You're impossible to talk.
We are impossible to talk to, and yet you're talking to us. So you don't understand talking, you don't understand communication, you don't understand rights, you don't understand pregnancy, you don't understand abortion, and I don't understand why we're still keeping you on the line.
We're impossible to talk to because we won't do the basic homework that you have failed to do. You are ready to call and debate a topic with us the moment you could do it without us there, and we would agree that you're representing our side correctly.
Yep, he already dropped.
Fine enough, Jake. I'm not positive
it's embarrassing.
That was a serious caller.
Yeah, I don't either. First of all, I don't think anybody could have such an absolutely broken understanding of rights. And he called in to tell why atheists should be pro-life and then gets absolutely everything wrong. For the record, for anybody who wants to, if you Google my name and abortion, you will find a debate that I did many years ago against Christine Krzyzlnicki, who is an atheist woman who's a former Catholic, and all of her positions on abortion are basically holdovers from her Catholicism. But what you'll find there is a full breakdown in my statement of everything that you need to know, I hope, about abortion, about the fact that abortion is the termination of a pregnancy. It is and the right to abortion is the right to terminate a non-viable pregnancy. It is not the right to kill. And the termination of a pregnancy happens at different times depending on viability. As Jimmy was pointing out, if it would have been the day before delivery, terminating at that point is a delivery, not an abortion in almost every case, except for like the illness issues where he pointed out. Prior to that, we're talking about termination that results in the death of the embryo or fetus simply because of the biology that would not allow it to survive outside of there. And if you're someone who wants to argue for a pro-life, or let's be honest, anti-choice position, because that's what it is, you should not be arguing about what is it the day before and life has value and all this stuff. You should be explaining why you think you have the right to force someone else to remain pregnant against their will, and why you are in favor of giving a fetus or an embryo special rights that no person on the planet has. Those are the key two things that you must address to have any hope of countering the bodily autonomy argument. And until you do, you're not going to change the mind of anyone who's actually bothered to take time to understand this.
By the way, that 1,000-to-1 argument, I was thinking about, I didn't end up going there, but taking Jacob down the road. Okay, if it's one person saves 1,000, what if one person can save, let's say, 5 people? Is it worth killing the one person for the 5? Because any given day of the week, a healthy person, if you die and are an organ donor, your liver can save 3 to 4 people if taken fast enough. Each kidney could save one person, so that's another 2 people. Your heart could potentially save another person, so now we're up to, what's that, 6, 7? Let's see, what other pieces of, quality of life you could dramatically improve for a lot of other people, but it's pretty much the liver, heart, and the kidneys that are the big lifesavers. So if you're ready to go and save, somewhere between, you may actually also have more liver. I think you have 3 to 5 liver nodes at any given time. It's been years since I took a nat and fizz. But
hello, everyone. I'm Jimmy Snow. I'm the executive producer of The Line. And at night, I sneak into Matt Dillahunty's house and I trade his cereals for other cereals. He comes out and he's like, wait, these are cereals I buy, but I swear I had different cereals. Anyway, would you like to support this channel or any specific show? You can do so over on Patreon or in channel memberships. There are special tiers for special shows or for the channel at large, and it helps us expand programming as well as hopefully very soon launch it in podcast form. Now, also, if you'd like to support, you can like, you can subscribe, you can leave a comment or a super thanks, which is a special highlighted comment that you pay for. Those are fun. And, screw the algorithm, go check out something over here, I suppose. Boy, I hope I can still put those icons there, because if I can't, this is going to look really stupid. I'm going to go buy some Cocoa Puffs and switch out Matt's mini wheats now.